What if I told you one of the largest enterprise deployments of crypto technology is coming to one of the largest economies in this world? Then what if I told you the cryptocurrency being used and the blockchain hosting this deployment is outside of the top 150 cryptocurrencies? You would say, no freaking way, you're kidding, pulling my leg. Well, get ready to become a believer because it's time for Chico Crypto. So, talking about large economies across the globe, the largest is well known. It's the United States, whose GDP has surged to over 22.3 trillion as of 2020. But there is one state that contributes to a large bulk of that GDP, nearly 15%, and that is California. California is the US's most populated state by a long shot, thus it has big business going on from every sector of industry: technology, manufacturing, shipping, government, agriculture, and more. Because of this, its GDP has grown to country-sized levels, and as of 2019, it was the world's fifth largest economy, joining the ranks of the US, China, Japan, and even getting close to the GDP level of Germany. You would think with the trillions upon trillions of dollars flowing through this state's economy each year, it wouldn't be facing any problems. Well, that couldn't be further from the truth. I would know, I live here. I'm sure you've heard about it, but fires are ravaging the state of California like never before, destroying of course the forest land, but recently entire cities too. If you check out a wildfire map, literally it looks like the entire state is on fire. And that is because it is. Our summers aren't your typical clear blue sky summers anymore. Because of the fires, they are orange and filled with ash and a smoke fog. Now, what is the leading cause of those fires? Is it just the wrath of God? Well, no, it comes down to a certain industry of California, the energy industry, as power line and electrical equipment are a leading cause of the state's wildfires. So power lines, they get overloaded with the extreme demand for energy, and with the extreme heat in the state, wildfires are sparked from those lines. This has caused a whole new batch of problems for the state too: energy blackouts. If it seems too dangerous to proceed as the grid is pushed to its capacity limits, utility companies can shut it all down. Energy goes kaput for the residents in certain areas until the grid is safe again. And this is only going to get worse, like end of the world worse, if the state doesn't get rain this winter. The drought is now straining the grid even further. From an article on this, California relies on hydro for so much of its demand, so any drought can put the state in a tight position, said Lindsay Aramayo, an industry economist with the U.S. Energy Information Administration. So next year, the grid won't be able to handle the summer, especially if it's another dry winter. So what is going to be done? Well, something that involves blockchain technology, so let's dive right in. Have you ever heard of California ISO? Well, they are the grid operators for almost all of California. The California ISO network is a long-distance, high-voltage transmission system that delivers wholesale electricity to local utilities for distribution to the state's nearly 40 million customers and residents. Thus, the ISO grid is one of the biggest in the world, encompassing 3/4 of California and a small portion of Nevada. And since 1998 and the creation of Cal ISO, to address the state's power and energy problems, they have been issuing something called Flex Alerts. These are voluntary calls for the state's population to conserve electricity during a specific window of time when there is more demand for power than there is supply. And these alerts in the past have usually been enough to stop major power outages and blackouts. But with a drought and hydroelectric power out the window, it won't be enough. Something more needs to be done than just asking people to save power. And this is where the blockchain comes in, specifically the energy web chain and their tech stack. How? Well, let's go deeper. So if you go to California ISO's Flex Alert page and click sign up to receive the Flex Alerts, it takes you to a register page. As we can see down below, this is powered by Energy Web. If you sign up for the Flex Alert, it goes one step further and reveals more. As you can see, you are entered into the database as a DID, Decentralized Identifier, and this is on EWC, Energy Web Chain. Now, this news isn't a secret. Jesse Morris, CEO of Energy Web, spoke on it just last week during an AMA. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
Flex Alert is our first foray into bringing the Energy Web stack to California. So what we've done is worked in close partnership with the ISO to enhance the Flex Alert system using decentralized identifiers. So I'll just make it really simple. If you go to, I think it's flexalert.org right now, and you click sign up to receive Flex Alerts, there is a way to register in a different way than the state had been using previously into this Flex Alert system. Once you're registered, you can now either get basically text messages, you can get emails. It gives hyper-specific kind of targeted information about saying, hey, we're going to call this Flex Alert. We're asking for people to voluntarily reduce the amount of energy they're using in specific times. But from the ISO's perspective, this is a totally different tool. Now they're going to be able to see, and I've actually done this as Jesse, as a Californian. Oh, hey, somebody in a specific zip code has registered into the Flex Alert system, and they've said they're willing to provide flexibility to the grid at X date and Z time, which is previously 24 hours ahead. It might not sound like much to some folks who are digitally native. That is a huge leapfrog from where they were, which was kind of having basically an email listserv that they blindly sent communications out to and crossed their fingers. So we're using the Energy Web stack. We're using decentralized identifiers, which are created for every single customer that registers into this system, to basically help the ISO be much more specific around where they're messaging to and procuring flexibility from. So that's what we built with them. This is just the first step, by the way. We wanted to do this with the ISO to prove the value that our tech stack can create. We wanted to show that we could provide something that could create DIDs for all 38 million Californians. So that's what we're doing right now. Official communications are coming out from this in the next month or so. That's why you haven't seen anything yet, because this is a real tool. This isn't some proof of concept, right? This is a real tool that market participants in California are going to be using to try and procure this flexibility from people in the state.
Jesse explains the system, the DIDs, and how this is going to help California. But he also says that this is just the first step. He says at the end, this is a tool that market participants will be using to procure or obtain flexibility from people in the state. What does that mean? Well, a whole heck of a lot, and he kind of dropped exactly what he meant earlier in the AMA. Let's listen in.
I'm sitting in California. My friends, my family are sitting in places with some of the worst air quality in the world right now because an truly stunning and terrifying number of wildfires are ripping through the state. We've also seen some of the hottest temperatures on record across the entire state. And if we want to try and address both of those things, if we want to try and make it so that utilities have more tools to avoid overloading power lines in specific areas that might kick off wildfires, and if we want to also help utilities have more tools to make the grid more flexible so that we don't have rolling blackouts in this time of year in California, all of these assets that we at Energy Web talk about all the time, heat pumps, electric cars, solar panels, batteries, those assets have a hugely outsized role to play in helping utilities fight against these really significant electricity peaking consumption events and even these wildfires. And that's what we're focused on here in California.
Energy assets, solar panels, heat pumps, electric vehicles, batteries, and more are going to help utilities during these flex and grid straining events. That means the California ISO will be implementing the entire Energy Web stack, and millions of Californians will be able to earn money, a new source of revenue, by helping stabilize the California grid. And one of the specific tools allowing this is named none other than Energy Web Flex. As we can see from Energy Web's description of it, EW Flex enables grid operators, including vertically integrated utilities, distribution system operators, DSOs, and transmission system operators, TSOs, just like California ISO, to scale processes for asset registration, pre-qualification, dispatch, and settlement to millions of distributed energy resources, DERs, via customer-facing applications and services. This helps grid operators tap into the vast and growing pool of customer-owned and sited assets, while enabling customers to improve the economics of DER ownership via increased participation in a variety of wholesale energy markets and/or demand-side management programs. DERs, those distributed energy resources, the solar panels, heat pumps, EVs, and batteries Jesse spoke of. This is a solution to help get them tied into the grid, allowing them to earn in the wholesale energy markets. And below they highlight where Flex is being used: Austria, APAC, and the United States, like California. And clicking into their highlight article, we can see their initial proof of concept of this has been running successfully for almost 2 years now. The blog on this was dropped January 2020, titled Austrian Power Grid and Energy Web Foundation Launch Proof of Concept to Use Distributed Energy Resources for Frequency Regulation. And in the article it says, in the Flex Hub concept developed by APG, a number of open source software applications from the Energy Web decentralized operating system, including Energy Web's blockchain platform, will be utilized to efficiently streamline qualification and registration of providing units, bid management, and financial settlement functions for DERs under one umbrella. So California is going to have its own version of this Flex Hub very soon. The initial steps are already being deployed. Jesse said that. That means millions upon millions of Californians will soon be on the Energy Web chain, and their energy assets too. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.